Number 9. Eyelid Betrayal. There are few things more humbling than being brought to your knees by a muscle the size of a grain of rice. We're talking, of course, about the eyelid twitch. One moment you're trying to look serious in a meeting. The next, your eyelid decides to launch its own personal rave. A tiny, spastic pulse that nobody else can see but feels to you like a seismic event. You're convinced you look like you're winking at your boss in slow, agonizing Morse code, signaling, what? That you need a rescue? That you find their PowerPoint presentation electrifying? This little act of facial treason is called myokymia. It's a completely harmless, involuntary firing of the orbicularis oculi muscle. And what causes this mutiny? The holy trinity of modern suffering: stress, caffeine, and a lack of sleep. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, can't send you a polite email asking you to maybe chill out and drink some water. Instead, it picks a highly visible part of your face and makes it dance like it's trying to dislodge a ghost. It's your nervous system's version of a passive-aggressive sticky note left on the fridge. It's not a sign of a stroke or a brain tumor. It's just your body's incredibly lame way of telling you that you've been staring at a screen for 14 hours straight. And maybe, just maybe, you should consider blinking. Number 8. Eyeball ghosts. Stare at a bright, plain surface, like a white wall or a clear blue sky. Wait a second. See them? Those little translucent squiggles, dots, and cobwebs drifting lazily across your field of vision. They move when you try to look at them, darting away like shy little amoebas. These are eye floaters, and for anyone experiencing them for the first time, it feels less like a common biological quirk, and more like you're the sole witness to a microscopic haunting taking place inside your own head. These are not, in fact, the spirits of long-dead bacteria. They're tiny bits of protein and collagen clumped together inside the vitreous humor, the jelly-like substance that fills your eyeball. As you age, this jelly becomes more liquid, allowing these little clumps to float around freely, casting shadows on your retina. That's what you're seeing. Not the floaters themselves, but their tiny, annoying shadows. Your brain is usually brilliant at editing out useless information, like the sight of your own nose. But it just can't seem to ignore these little drifters. They're a permanent fixture, a constant reminder that your body is a messy, imperfect biological soup. So no, you don't have tiny poltergeists in your cornea. You just have some biological debris that your internal janitor missed. Number 7. The brain's rerun. It hits you like a ton of bricks. You're talking to a friend in a coffee shop, and suddenly every detail, the smell of burnt espresso, the exact way the light is hitting the table, the phrase your friend just uttered, feels intensely, uncannily familiar. You've been here before. You've had this exact conversation. This is it. You can see the future. Or, your past is repeating itself. Or, the Matrix just glitched. This is déjà vu, and it's one of the mind's most powerful and unsettling tricks. For a split second, you feel like a time traveler. But scientists have a less glamorous explanation. One leading theory suggests it's a tiny temporal hiccup in the brain. Information from your senses is supposed to go to a short-term memory processing center, and then get filed away into long-term memory. Déjà vu might happen when that sensory information accidentally takes a shortcut directly to the long-term memory regions, before the short-term part has finished processing it. So, as you're experiencing the moment now, your brain is simultaneously retrieving it as an old memory. It's like receiving an email and finding it in your sent folder at the exact same time. Your brain's filing system just put the sticker on the wrong box for a fraction of a second, creating a profound and bizarre feeling that you've lived this life before. Number 6. The sudden mute button. Imagine you're sitting in a quiet room and suddenly one of your ears just turns off. The world's volume knob is cranked down to 0 on one side, replaced by a single piercing high-pitched. It's so loud and so sudden it feels like a speaker just blew out in your skull. You tilt your head. You pop your jaw. You do that weird finger-wiggling thing next to your ear, desperately trying to reboot your own hearing. Then, just as abruptly as it began, maybe 10 seconds later, it's over. The ringing fades, and the sound of the world floods back in, leaving you bewildered and slightly paranoid. This lovely experience is called transient unilateral tinnitus, or more simply, sudden brief unilateral tapering tinnitus. It's the acoustic equivalent of your TV signal cutting out for a moment. While chronic tinnitus can be a serious issue, these fleeting episodes are incredibly common and usually benign. No one is 100% sure what causes them, but the leading theory points to the tiny, delicate hair cells in your inner ear. These cells are responsible for translating sound vibrations into electrical signals for your brain. Sometimes a group of them might just misfire. They have a little spontaneous spasm, sending a blast of nonsensical static to your auditory cortex. It's not a sign of impending deafness. It's just your high-fidelity biological sound system having a momentary brain fart. Number 5. The pre-sleep nosedive. You're finally there, drifting off to sleep. Your body is heavy, your mind is blissfully blank, and you're sinking into that warm, comfortable void between wakefulness and dreams. Then, without any warning, bam! You get a massive, full-body jolt, often accompanied by a vivid sensation of falling off a cliff, tripping down the stairs, or just straight up plummeting into the Earth's core. Your heart pounds, your limbs flail, and you're suddenly wide awake, gasping for air in the safety of your own bed. This is the hypnic jerk, your brain's deeply misguided attempt at saving your life from a threat that doesn't exist. As you fall asleep, your breathing slows, your heart rate drops, and your muscles relax. Sometimes your brain, specifically the part that's still a bit paranoid and thinks we live in trees, misinterprets this rapid relaxation as a sign that you are, in fact, falling to your death. In a panic, it sends a massive electrical signal to all your major muscle groups yelling, "Wake up! Grab a branch! Don't just lie there and die!" The result is a violent, involuntary muscle contraction that rips you from the edge of sleep. So next time you feel like you've just swan-dived off your mattress, just remember it's your primitive lizard brain overreacting, once again proving it cannot be trusted with the night shift. Number 4. The internal grenade. Forget the hypnic jerk. Some people get something far more alarming. You're lying in bed, in that quiet, peaceful space right before sleep, when a deafeningly loud noise explodes inside your head. It's not a dream. It could be a gunshot, a cymbal crash, a bomb detonating, or a door being slammed shut right next to your ear. It's so loud and so real that you jolt upright, convinced your house is under attack, only to find the room is silent. Your partner is sound asleep, and there's absolutely nothing there. Welcome to the terrifyingly named exploding head syndrome. Despite sounding like a B-horror movie plot, it's a completely harmless parasomnia. It's an auditory hallucination, not a real sound. Scientists think it's similar to a hypnic jerk, but instead of your brain misfiring in the motor cortex, it misfires in the auditory cortex. As you drift off, the part of your brain responsible for shutting down your auditory neurons, the reticular formation, is supposed to do so in an orderly fashion, but sometimes it glitches. Instead of powering down smoothly, it shorts out, causing a massive, chaotic burst of neural activity that your brain interprets as an impossibly loud noise. It's the mental equivalent of pulling the plug on a giant speaker system, instead of just turning the volume down. No pain, no danger, just pure, unadulterated auditory terror, courtesy of your brain's faulty wiring. Number 3. The emergency shutdown. You're watching a medical drama. The doctor makes an incision, and you see a flash of blood. Or perhaps you're giving blood, and you make the mistake of looking at the needle in your arm. Suddenly, the room starts to feel hot. Your vision gets fuzzy and develops a weird tunnel-like quality. The sounds around you become muffled and distant, like you're underwater. Your skin goes cold and clammy. You know, with a deep, primal certainty that you need to lie down right now. If you don't, the floor will simply rise up to meet you. This dramatic system crash is called vasovagal syncope, and it's your body's over-the-top reaction to a trigger it finds distressing. The culprit is your vagus nerve, a massive nerve that wanders through your body regulating things like heart rate and blood pressure. When faced with certain triggers, like the sight of blood, extreme emotional distress, or even just standing up too quickly, the vagus nerve can overreact. It slams on the brakes, causing your heart rate and blood pressure to plummet dramatically. With blood pressure in the basement, not enough oxygen-rich blood can get to your brain. So, your brain initiates a brilliant, if terrifying, solution, a forced horizontal reboot. It makes you faint. By passing out and falling to the ground, you get your head level with your heart, making it easier for blood to flow back to your brain. It's your body's built-in failsafe, a brutally efficient system that decides it's better to be unconscious on the floor than upright and freaking out. Number 2. The waking nightmare. This is the one. The glitch that feels less like a quirk and more like a paranormal assault. You wake up in the middle of the night. You can see your room. You can hear the hum of the air conditioner. You are consciously, terrifyingly awake. But you cannot move a single muscle. You are pinned to your bed by an invisible force, a prisoner in your own body. Your eyes can dart around, but your limbs are lead, your mouth is sealed shut, and you can't even scream. To make matters infinitely worse, you might feel a heavy pressure on your chest, or see a shadowy figure lurking in the corner of your room. This is sleep paralysis, and it's the horror movie of bodily glitches. It occurs when your brain and body fall out of sync during the transition between sleep and wakefulness. During REM sleep, the stage where you have your most vivid dreams, your brain releases chemicals that paralyze your voluntary muscles. This is a good thing. It's called rematonia, and it stops you from physically acting out your dream of fighting a horde of angry squirrels. Sleep paralysis happens when your conscious mind wakes up before the paralysis has worn off. You're mentally awake, but your body is still in sleep mode. The hallucinations, the chest pressure, the shadow people, are dream elements bleeding over into your waking reality. Your brain is trying to make sense of the terrifying sensation of being awake but paralyzed, so it helpfully supplies a monster to explain it. It's not a demon, it's just your brain's terrible improv skills. Number 1. The brain's worst encore. Imagine feeling a sudden, jarring jolt of electricity shoot through your brain. It's not a headache. It's a zap, a split-second sensation of being electrocuted from the inside out, sometimes accompanied by a brief moment of disorientation, or a sound like a shush or a buzz. It can happen when you move your eyes from side to side, or just appear out of nowhere. It's a deeply unpleasant, disorienting sensation that makes you feel like your very consciousness is short-circuiting. These are colloquially known as brain zaps, and they are a notorious and bizarre symptom, most famously associated with discontinuing certain antidepressant medications, particularly SSRIs. While they feel like they're happening in your brain, it's all about neurotransmitters. These medications work by altering the levels of serotonin in your brain. When you stop taking them, your brain has to scramble to readjust to its old, unmedicated baseline. This withdrawal period can cause all sorts of sensory weirdness, as your neurons struggle to communicate properly. The zap is thought to be a sensory misfire, a burst of scrambled electrical signals as your nervous system tries to recalibrate itself without its chemical crutch. It's the neurological equivalent of an engine sputtering and backfiring after you switch from premium to regular fuel. It's not dangerous, but it is a powerful and terrifying reminder that the line between normal perception and a full-on sensory revolt is just a few neurotransmitters wide. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.